सिन्दूरारुणविग्रहा त्रिनयना माणिक्यमौली स्फुरत् तारानायकशेखरा स्मितमुखी मामीनवक्षोरुहा पाणिभ्यामलिपूर्णरत्नचषकम् रक्तोत्पलं बिभ्रतीं सौम्यां रत्नघटस्थरक्तचरणां ध्यायेत् परामम्बिकाम् सान्निपातिकज्वर सततज्वर विषमज्वर ग्रह नक्षत्र दोषाञ्चान्या हर हर काली सर सर गौरी गम विद्ये आले माले काले बन्धे भज भज विद्ये मख मख विद्ये नाशय नाशय पापम् हर हर दुःस्वप्नम् विध्वंसय विध्वंसय विघ्नविनाशिनि रजनी सन्ध्ये मुन्दुभिनादे मानस्तोषे मानसवेगे शङ्खिनी चक्रिणी वज्रिणी गदिनी शूलिनी अपमृत्युविनाशिनी विश्वेश्वरी द्राविडी केशवदैते पशुपति सहिते धीममर्दिनि गमनी कामिनी शबरी विराटी वाचक्री ॐ द्रं 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 ॐ द्रं गुरु गुरु
Namaste, dear friends. A very warm welcome to each of you who is present on the session today for a very interesting practice that is going to be on the Yoga Nidra with sound and meditation. Today we are on the 20th day of the Global Festival of Yoga celebrating wellness that is being organized by the Indica Yoga that is dedicated to promoting authentic, immersive and transformative learning experiences from the yogic traditions. So, dear friends, you have been with us on this wonderful journey. We've had various kinds of presenters on the theory of it, the research around yoga, as well as the practice. In the domain of practice, we've looked at Yoga Nidra itself with André Riel in the first week. But today we have a very special combination of Yoga Nidra with sound meditation. And for this practice, we have with us Aarti Padmanabhanji, Arti may I request you to kindly come on screen?
Namaste, Aruna.
Namaste. Namaste. And so I would like to say a few words about Artiji. Artiji has been associated with yoga from a very young age of 12 or 13 when she started her yoga journey in the Yoga Institute in Santa Cruz in Mumbai. This yoga institute itself has completed 100 years. It was one of the earliest initiatives to promote yoga in India. And so Artiji's had an initiation in that institute, and then she has a very diverse kind of a background. So she's a trainer and an HR professional by education. She holds a master's degree in business management, and now taking a break from the corporate field, Artiji has done 500 hours of training from the International Yoga School, that's Yoga Alliance in Hatha Yoga. She has a certificate on asanas and pranayama from Mumbai and from the Yoga Institute. She holds a PG diploma from Annamala University. She's a yin yoga teacher and sound healing therapist and blends her meditation classes with meditation and relaxation classes with such practices. Now, Artiji also qualifies herself as a pre and postnatal teacher from International Yoga Alliance and feels a tremendous sense of bonding in her prenatal classes. In the yoga world, we know the importance of this vibration of the individual long before they come into the world itself. So these kind of practices of prenatal yoga are very helpful to form the soul in its present incarnation from a very young age. Besides this, she takes immense happiness in creating fun-loving programs for children by doing workshops and summer camps. She is certified special educator and currently works with special needs children as well. We had Soumya ji who spoke to us about yoga for the vulnerable a few days ago, and with that we can see how we are trying to really show the application of the beneficial effects of yoga to all sections of our society. A blend of Eastern movements rooted in Qigong, Tai Chi. Artiji is a trained teacher and practitioner since 2 years. A well-known instructor in Bangalore and founder of Padma Yoga Academy. The focus of her sessions are on health, wellness, and healing. She also teaches corporate desktop yoga. So we've been talking of yoga at the workplace. That's another topic of great interest to all of you here. And she blends it beautifully with stress management workshops and mindfulness. Artiji is an NLP practitioner and coach. She uses her skills on self-learning and coaching her students, clients, and friends. She's also a nutrition educator and loves to share her experience of food with friends and students by adopting clean and healthy eating habits. So you can see we have a wonderful presenter with a varied range of interests. So please enjoy the practice with her on Yoga Nidra and sound meditation. And at the end, make sure that you have all your doubts answered by her. And we'll try and help as much as possible for your questions and answers. Please make sure you're putting it in the Q&A box so that we address them properly. Thank you very much. And Artiji, over to you.
Thank you so much, Anurag ji. Thank you for welcoming here at the Global Festival of Yoga among such eminent personalities who are scholars in their own fields. And I feel honored and actually privileged to share the space with some of the top people here, and very, very grateful and immensely happy to have this affection from Vinay ji to contribute my part of whatever I know in these years of learning. So I hope to actually give you my best in today's practice, and any questions at the end of the session, feel free to ask. All right. So before we start the session, I would just like to give you a little bit of intro about today's session. We'll be dividing it into 3 parts. One, I will be telling you what is the preparatory phase of this practice of Yoga Nidra. I'm sure we are targeting different kinds of audiences today and across different globes of the world. So we are looking at people from beginners level to an advanced level in yogic practices. Nevertheless, we are looking at Yoga Nidra as a very small phase today, entering into a Pratyahara practice, which is the fifth limb of our uh, uh, Ashtanga's yoga of Patanjali's Yoga Sutra. So today we'll be talking about how to actually dive ourselves into this practice of Yoga Nidra and immerse fully without any focus or concentration effort. Now, small tips actually for you to enjoy the practice in today's session. Don't put too much stress on what you want to achieve from the practice. I would say just let go and feel free to enjoy the practice as it comes. Do not analyze, do not actually think too much on a lot of instructions which I would be leading you into. Having said that, I would like to also state that you should not sleep in a Nidra state, considering that this is a practice which can easily pull you into a deep sleep. Now, when you are talking about the stages of the practice, I would like you to also understand that there is a systematic approach of entering this particular stage of practice. So do not be too harsh on yourself to actually experience anything at the forefront. Allow everything to happen at the background and it will all come in one time at a time. Now you have to set yourself an environment to actually enjoy this practice. It cannot be done in a crowded place and not certainly done where a lot of people are actually going in and going out of that space. So choose yourself a particular area where you can silently, quietly sit down or lie down for the practice. The space that you are actually going to practice should be very, very less lighted, not fully dark, nor very, very lit. This is also to understand that if it is very dark, you might tend to go off to sleep. If it is very light, then you might not actually have a meditative phase of experience. Now, the practice is best done if you can lie down on the floor, on a yoga mat or a blanket or a rug. My suggestions to you is to not to do the practice on the bed. If you have any conditions of your back, then feel free to actually sit on a chair and do the same. So the practice can either be done in a seated position or in a lying down position in Shavasana. Now, if you're doing a seated practice, the focus is much more as the prana flows upwards throughout the entire practice. So your concentration is much better. If you're an advanced practitioner, I would always tell you to go for a seated practice in Yoga Nidra. Now, I'm sure that this is an afternoon session, so you must have had your breakfast a little early, which means to say at least 2 hours of break between a meal and the practice. Now, it's very important for you to actually feel light on your belly, to actually see through all those experiences that I will be narrating. Yeah. Now, the practice also unfolds a little bit of openness in the body. So it will also change your body temperature to a little bit medium stage where the temperature can drop and you might need a little bit of support to actually have a soft cushion, or probably you can actually hold a light blanket or hold on to a small shawl to wrap yourself up. So this is most of the things that needs to be done before you start the practice. In case you are having any mental conditions, going through any severe depression or taking any medication for psychosomatic diseases, then I would not suggest you do the practice, but you can watch the practice. Okay, other than that, all people who are even pregnant ladies, feel free to enjoy the practice. If not lying down, you can sit on a chair and do the same practice. All right. So that's about it in terms of the preparation phase. So we will take the practice into an experience now. Continue the practice for about 30-35 minutes. In between, I'll be playing the sounds of the singing bowls. So the singing bowls is a special addition to today's session. So the meditation part of the practice in Yoga Nidra will be actually put into a singing bowl meditation blend, which means to say you will enjoy the sounds of the singing bowls. I'll show you how it actually looks like because you might not be able to see here. And you might want to shift your awareness to these sounds and actually take your attention there. Now, when you are taking your attention towards the sounds which I'll be playing, I would also suggest you not to move away from the experience of the Yoga Nidra practice. Right? All right, so when I'm talking about the bowls are something which is of this shape, which is smaller in size, where I'll be striking the bowls or I'll be rimming the bowls. Okay, so either striking or I'll be rimming. One of the two will be played to you in between your meditation practices. So that's about the experience part of it. If you have any discomfort during the practice, feel free to actually release the practice and come to a seated position. But otherwise, it is strictly told that you will continue the practice till the end and not open your eyes. Right? So let's start with an experience of Yoga Nidra practice with sound meditation and get to a comfortable sitting position or a lying down posture. We will start with a prayer. All of you sit down comfortably, maybe in Sukhasana before you get ready for the practice. Seated with an upright spine, gently close your eyes. Join your palms to Namaskara Mudra. We chant Om Sahana Bhavatu. Om Sahana Bhavatu. Sahana Bhunatu. Sahaviryam Karavavahai. Tejasvinamalitamastu. Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Take your comfortable position, either in a seated posture or lying down on your back in a Shavasana position. Keep your body stretched out on the floor. Feet a little wider than hip width distance. Toes pointing naturally to the sides of the body. Loosen the arms. Keep the palms facing upwards towards the ceiling, making some space for your armpits to breathe in and out. Relax the back of your head, neck, shoulder blades, and get ready for the practice. If you want to do any necessary adjustments, do it right now. Your clothes, your posture. If you're wearing spectacles, please take them off. And stay relaxed for the next few minutes. Allow your body to completely surrender into the flow. Please get ready for the practice of Yoga Nidra. The practice of Yoga Nidra is a practice of hearing and feeling. In this practice, you will not focus on any instructions for too long. nor analyze or think on any of these words. Be completely aware and awake in the practice. You will mentally say in your mind now, I am going to practice Yoga Nidra. Repeat mentally 3 times, I am going to practice Yoga Nidra. Now take your awareness to the different sounds around you. Take your awareness to the farthest sounds away from this body. Keep moving your focus from sound to sound. Keep moving your focus from sound to sound without analyzing the source of the sound. Now slowly pick up the sounds closer towards your room. Sounds that you can hear outside the room. Now bring your awareness towards this body. Awareness to the body lying on the floor. Awareness to the different meeting points between the back of the body and the floor. Visualize the flooring, the ceiling. Visualize the 4 corners of the room. Now take your attention to the natural breath. Awareness to the natural state of breathing. The breath moving in and out of the nostrils. Your breath moving in and out of the nostrils. Feel the breath as you inhale. Feel the calmness spreading throughout the body. And as you exhale, feel the relaxation. As you inhale, feel the calmness spreading throughout the body. And as you exhale, feel the relaxation seeping into the body. Now this is the time for you to make a resolve, a sankalpa. A sankalpa is nothing but a short, positive, affirmative statement that you would like to make at the moment. If you do not have a resolve or a sankalpa, for the time being, you can take a sankalpa. I am happy I am peaceful. Now repeat the Sankalpa 3 times in your mind, mentally. Repeat the Sankalpa 3 times in your mind, mentally, with full conviction and affirmation. It's time to move on to our next stage of the practice, coming into the conscious awareness of different body parts. We start to draw our awareness through different centers of our body. Draw your awareness through different centers of our body. As I call out the name of the body part, you would take your attention to that part of the body without analyzing or judging. Be aware of that part of the body and relax them. Make sure you don't dwell on that part of the body for too long. Keep moving your attention from one body part to another. We start our practice from the right side of the body. Bring your awareness to the right hand thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, little finger, palm of the hand, back of the hand, wrist, lower arm, elbow, upper arm, shoulder, armpit, right side of the hip, thigh, kneecap, calf muscle, shin, ankle, heel, sole, top of the foot, right big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, and the little toe. Awareness to the entire right side of the body. Now bring your awareness to the left side of the body, starting with the left hand thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, little finger, back of the palm, wrist, lower arm, elbow, upper arm, left shoulder, armpit, left hip, left thigh, the kneecap, calf muscle, shin, ankle, heel of the foot, top of the foot, left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, and the fifth toe. Awareness to the entire left side of the body. Now bring your attention to the back of the body, starting from your heel, the ankle, back of the legs, back of the knees, back of your thighs, back of your hips, lower back, mid back, upper back, shoulder blades, back of the neck and the head. Awareness to the front of the body, starting from your toes. Awareness to your toes. Awareness to your shin bone, the kneecaps, the groins, lower abdomen, upper abdomen, the navel center, the heart space, right and the left side of the chest, pit of the throat, tip of your nose, and the eyebrow center. Now draw your awareness to your facial muscles. Awareness towards your forehead. Awareness to your temples. Awareness to the center of your eyelids. Your eyelids. Your eyes. Both the ears. Tip of the nose. Right and left nostril. Upper lip. Lower lip. Right and left side of the cheeks, chin, the jaw, throat, the entire face. Now scan the body completely from the right side of the arms, right side of the legs, left side of the arms, left side of the legs, from the back of the body, from the front of the body, the whole body together, the whole body together, the whole body together. Now start shifting your attention to the natural breath. Become aware of the natural in-breath and the out-breath. Feel the breath rising from the navel to the throat, back from the throat to the navel. Feel the breath rising from the navel to the throat, back from the throat to the navel. Let this breath be spontaneous, natural, and continuous. As you keep breathing in and breathing out, feel all your thoughts relaxing for a moment and your body getting completely stable. We start counting our breaths now. Numbers backwards from 27 to 1 as you inhale and as you exhale. As you inhale, start counting mentally 27. As you exhale, count 27. Inhale 26, exhale 26, and so on until you reach the number 1. Every time you inhale and exhale, feel the rising of the belly or the navel towards the chest, and as you exhale, feel the chest and the navel descending down. Become aware of this movement as you keep counting your breaths. If you miss a count, make sure you return back to the same number of 27 and start the count all over again. If you finish the count too fast, then make sure that you repeat once again, starting from 27 back to 1. Continue counting and feeling the breath up and down. Now visualize the breath. Visualize the breath as it is, without altering or changing this breath. Observe the rhythmic movement of the breath. Stop the counting and we move on to a few sensations in the body. Become aware of a few sensations in the body. Bring an awareness of heat in the body. Bring an awareness of heat in the body. Experience this heat throughout the body. Experience the heat around your feet, around your legs, around the trunk of the body, around the back and the head. Feel that sensation of heat, extreme heat that you would actually observe during the summer times. Take your attention through each and every part of the body and experience this heat. And slowly bring that awareness towards the navel center, the Manipura chakra. Experience heat around the navel center. Now experience the sensation of cold. Experience the sensation of cold throughout the body. Feel the sensations of chillness and shivering throughout the body, from the top of the head to the tips of the toes. Experience this shivering. Feel that. The coolness spreading throughout the body. And bring your awareness to the Vishuddhi chakra, the throat center. Start experiencing the chillness around them. Now bring an awareness of pain in the body. Awareness of pain in any part of the body, physically or otherwise mentally. Relive that experience of pain in front of your closed eyes. Just be a witness to the pain without judging or analyzing it. Just observe that pain. Become aware of that pain. Now experience a sense of pleasure. Experience a sense of pleasure either through movements or through listening or through seeing. Relive those moments of pleasure, a vivid experience in front of you. Bring back those memories of pleasure. It could be a sense of smell or taste, anything that you had experienced in the past. Bring back those memories and relive that experience of pleasure. Now slowly drop the awareness of the sensations and bring your awareness to the head space. The space in front of your closed eyes, around your forehead. The mind space, what we call the Chidakasha. Visualize this dark space in front of your closed eyes. Observe the space and manifest the space in your own ways. Sideways, up and down, with any length and breadth of the space. Now keep observing the center of your eyebrows and sit down quietly to meditate. As you sit down quietly to meditate, visualize the most important person in your life and visualize they are sitting in front of you, equally meditating. With closed eyes and focus at the Chidakasha, you start to observe the inward awareness of connecting to each other's eyebrow center. Stay with that experience. Coming back to the space around your eyebrow center. Keep watching the space in between your eyebrow center, the blue madhya. Relax all your thoughts, all your efforts. We move on to a few rapid visualization practices. As I call out the name of the image, you will bring your awareness to that part of the image. Visualize it in your own way, with full imagination and awareness. Do not wait for one image to stay longer in your mind. Keep moving from image to image. Awareness to the Shiva Lingam. The Shiva Lingam. Standing Christ. Standing Christ. Tall palm tree. Tall palm tree. A running elephant. A running elephant. Pink lotus. Pink lotus. Flickering candle. Flickering candle. A yogi sitting in deep meditation. A yogi sitting in deep meditation. A pond with clear water. A pond with clear water. Dark green jungles. Dark green jungles. Restless sea. Restless sea. Birds flying across the sunset. Birds flying across the sunset. The face of a small girl. Face of a small girl. Symbol of Om. Symbol of Om. It's time to become aware of your resolution once again. The Sankalpa. Please take the Sankalpa 3 times in your mind with awareness, with conviction and affirmation. Slowly get your awareness towards your breath. Awareness to the natural state of breathing. Visualize the natural state of your breath. Slowly moving that awareness to the different sounds around you. Awareness to the sounds inside the room. Awareness to sounds outside the room. Bring your awareness towards this room. Visualize the floor, the ceiling, the body lying on the floor. Do not be in a hurry. Start to slowly awaken the physical body. Awaken the physical body by gently wriggling your toes, Fingering your fingers. Start to make larger movements by turning your neck from side to side. Slowly bring your legs together. Take your arms back behind your shoulders. Stretch your arms by interlocking your fingers and stretch the whole body. Breathe in gently. Breathe out. Slowly start to bend your knees. Curl onto the right side of the body. Stay there for a few breaths. Whenever you're ready, slowly support your left palm in front of your chest to sit up. Once you come into a seated position, stay with eyes closed. Take a few moments here to reflect on your practice. Joining the palms to heart center. We rub the palms evenly. Place the warmth on your eyes. Massage the whole face. One more round of palming. Placing this warmth on any part of the body where you want to feel the touch. Your back, shoulders, neck. And gently open your eyes, look into your eyes. Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste, Aarti
Namaste, Ajay.
I was just hesitant to start speaking because everybody is in a very peaceful mode, and unnecessary words can disturb that kind of tranquility to which you have led everybody into. So thank you very much for that immersive experience. What was it like for you to do the session on a Zoom platform? Have you done this before?
Yes, I have done a few sessions on Yoga Nidra on an online platform, but the experience is very different because although I can see them, visually, but I cannot see the experiences that they're going through other than a one-on-one session, which I tend to actually see the differences. But nevertheless, it's been a rewarding, experience seeing them practice online also.
Yes, thank you very much. So a lot of appreciation coming in from our participants who are saying that Sharmila ji is saying it was a beautiful session. Thank you, namaste. Dr. Namrata Reddy is offering her pranams to you. She's one of our very regular participants on this program. And we've got Debraji, another person, Smita ji, you've been very regular. They're both saying wonderful session on visualization. Thank you very much. Feeling of great relaxation. So I think the session has achieved its intended purpose. So thank you for taking everybody through that journey. I was just wanting to know on a personal front, you were talking of the Satyananda tradition before we
Yes.
started. So could you just tell us a little bit about that? Because we are also wanting to use this platform to inform our participants from across the world about different lineages, different traditions that are there that people can connect themselves to. So would you like to just share a few words in that?
Okay, so this practice of Yoga Nidra is actually propounded by the Bihar School of Yoga by Swami Satyananda Saraswati. And it's a text which is called Yoga Nidra by itself. And people who have learned it from that text or under the discipline of directly from Swami Satyananda or his disciples have led this practice systematically through a regular journey of each one's transformation. So what happens during this practice is you tend to evolve yourself individually. It's not just a practice on relaxation, but it's much more to do with actually touching the lives of the individual. So if you have had bad memories, if you have had your karmas in the past, then through the visualization practices or through the pair of opposites, you tend to actually dissolve those memories and come out with a richer experience. So that way you can actually tune yourself to a transformational change, which can be like an overall change of your personality, not just changing the bad aspects of your traits or your nature. Like if I want to quit smoking or I want to stop drinking, it's not just changing those habits, but I want to change the entire personality, the true nature of the person. So this practice helps you to dive into those kinds of specifications.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. So we have a bit, because you spoke of opposites in this. So we have a question by Shelly ji, who's saying that in Yoga Nidra, we have opposite feelings like hot and cold. In sound meditation, how do we decide the sounds? Which sound after which? How does one?
Right. So I would like you to give an intro about this sound meditation. So these sounds are actually pitched in different bowls according to the notes of our musical notes. The A to G notes that we have in our musical notes. The same sounds are pitched into these Tibetan bowls. But the speciality of these Tibetan bowls is it is a mix of 7 actually metals. And these metals actually synchronize together and release the sound of the vibration. That's why it's very, very typical in nature, and you can actually resonate with each sounds very, very differently, because each sound actually triggers through different psychic centers, which are our chakras, and can heal the body from the energy level itself. So it is used a lot in therapy purposes also to heal a lot of chronic illnesses, as well as other illnesses like cancers and psychosomatic diseases. So recently I read an article that also sound therapy has been very beneficial in treating COVID patients. So it's very interesting, and it came to a surprise to me, because if that could be that kind of a larger penetration into the body, then we could also look at other healing therapies in sound meditation for our patients or people who are really suffering from illnesses.
Okay. I mean, I think that's a huge door that opens up. If
Yes.
it can be effective in a case like COVID, I think
Yes.
it's a good empowerment for people to be able to effectively heal themselves and strengthen their immune systems. So
Right.
I think it's a big domain to explore in depth.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because they feel that the vibrations that are released through these sounds actually have the properties of healing. It's yet to be actually experimental, and it is still in the process of research. But definitely there are people who have recovered from knee problems and back problems. So these are some of the known facts and actually results that have been shown in certain patients.
Amazing, yes. So I'd like to move on to ask you a few more questions. I'm going to try and club a few questions so you could answer them as convenient for you. So there's somebody, an anonymous attendee, who's saying that can this yoga nidra be practiced after the evening before going to bed? That is one. The other is that Girish ji is asking that you run the risk of going to sleep.
Yes.
So how do you avoid that? And the third one, which is a bit related, it says that when you're doing it, the neck tends to drop down. Is it okay if this happens?
Okay. So I'll take from the reverse side. So whenever you feel that the neck tends to drop down, if you are lying down on the floor in Shavasana position, I would suggest you keep a small pillow below the neck or the head region, so as to keep it slightly elevated and you don't drop it down. But if you're sitting, then maybe you can recline yourself to the back of the chair a little bit, and slightly with an upturned face, you can push your chin up. So that way you can position yourself and avoid actually sleeping also. If you are in an upright position, definitely, the energy levels are much more than in a relaxed position. Now, coming to the second question of sleep, definitely the Yoga Nidra practice is going to indulge you in deep sleep. As you know, our four states, right? The wakefulness state, the dream state, and the sleep state, and the Turaya state. So these are some of the states of conscious, unconscious, subconscious, and superconscious levels of the mind, which triggers in such a way that you tend to fall asleep. Now, one of the tip I would like to give you to actually stay awake is focus on the instructions time and again, not on the instructor, but focus on the instruction. Pick up words that are actually familiar to you or resonates with you. It's okay once in a while to skip a few words or sentences and go off to sleep, but you should always keep that one-pointed awareness of coming back to the practice. If that is not there, then you lose the entire essence of the practice.
Wonderful. And the other one about going to sleep, should you do it in the evening before you go to sleep?
So it could be done early in the morning as well as practiced late in the evening. The best practice would be late in the evening when you would actually feel that sense of relaxation after a heavy day's work, where you actually want to, throw out all the burdens of the physical stress as well as the emotional release.
So, this was also an answer to a question by Anil Kumar ji, who was asking what is the best time to do it. And
Okay.
we have a feedback by Geeta ji from IIT Kharagpur, in fact, who's saying that that was an out-of-world experience. Thank you very much for that. And this is resonated in the comments of all the other participants here, who found it a very beautiful and relaxing session. So thank you very much for that. There was another question about something that the participant experienced during the practice. So Srinivas ji is saying that if you feel numbness in the feet or the leg in the middle of the meditation, then what do you do?
So what you can do is you can slightly make changes by moving the feet, okay, a little bit. Although I said that movements are restricted during the entire practice, but if you feel that is a discomfort for you to keep your awareness intact, then you can slowly move your feet or your hand, whichever is a state of discomfort, and then get back to your awareness. Because I don't suggest you stay with that pain or discomfort and try to focus. That is not going to happen. So you start making minor movements and then you come back to the practice.
Okay, there's another question relating to practice itself. And this is by Radha Rao ji, who's saying that we were told to connect with people by the third eye chakra. Now, how can you elaborate a little more on that, please?
So when you're connecting to the third eye chakra, so you are focusing on uniting the two nadis, right? The Ida and the Pingala Nadi, and trying to direct your energy through the Sushumna Nadi, where it actually meets at the Ajna Chakra. So your practices should be actually more towards the physical approach and then towards, taking it forward through a pranayama or a meditation state where you can directly focus on the Ajna Chakra.
Okay. And so we've got some excellent feedback coming in from the participants. Which is always a very heartening experience, because they're all very seriously, they try and actually do what the expert is guiding them through. And some very relevant questions that come up from there. Another one is by Rajesh ji, who says that the sankalpa, should it be done twice during the yoga nidra? So how often can you place a sankalpa which can result in something meaningful in terms of transformation?
Okay, so in the practice of Yoga Nidra, it is strictly said that you do the sankalpa twice. One at the beginning of the practice, one when you're externalizing before you come out of the practice. But this sankalpa which you actually develop in your mind has to be really carefully looked into. So don't jump into conclusions of drawing a sankalpa within 2 days, 5 days, or 1 week's time, and people do actually take a sankalpa, I want to eat an ice cream. Yeah. Or probably I want to travel world around. So these are sankalpas which are not very, I wouldn't say realistic, but they are not real sankalpas in the true spirit. The real sankalpas would be something which is meaningful for yourself as a totality which can transform you from the inside and out. So it takes time to actually frame a sankalpa, and you have to deliberate on that and come to a strong affirmation that it stays for a period of time. And do not keep changing your sankalpa every 10 days, 12, 1 month. No, that is not how it's going to work, because every meditation you start to actually focus on your sankalpa. And let me tell you, the Yoga Nidra practice is such a powerful technique. The sankalpa that you take there actually comes true.
Can I just request you to add or throw light on this from your NLP background? Because
Right.
as an NLP practitioner, how would you make that connection with this formation of the sankalpa and the repetition of it?
Yeah, we have something similar to that in terms of intentions, right? When you have strong intention that we say in Sankalpa, that is a positive intention. So whenever you have an intention, it could be negative, but we don't use any negative words. There is no or not or I may be. There is no doubt about it in your
Could
mind.
you give an example? Like, could you give an actual example using the different shades that you have just mentioned and showing how this natural language processing works in our brain? Because I think it's very important for us to pay attention to how we are phrasing our life experiences.
Right, right. So if I have to say that I took a sankalpa in this session that I am happy, I am peaceful, right? So the same sankalpa, if I say I may be happy or I will be happy, then it is something which is not in the present moment. And it is something which I may think about it later on. But right now I'm not doing it. So we never dwell on the past, nor we actually think about the future, but we try and stay in the present. And even if the sankalpa is going to be initiated after a few months or years, in terms of culmination of the sankalpa, we try to retain it in the present moment. So same thing when we develop intentions in NLP practices, we develop intentions for the day. We never take the intentions for a longer period of time, because every intention has to be worked on every moment of your life. So if I have an intention in the morning that I'm going to use my resources fully from the start of the day till the end of the day, then I'm going to use my resources completely. And in the end of the day, I need to gratitude myself, saying that did I do that? Or could I have done that much better? How could I have done that better? And I would say gratitude is something which all of us have to be having in our life. You know, so come what may, money, power, anything can come and go. But if you don't have that real love, affection, and gratitude to yourself and others in the company of, you know, their loved ones, then probably you need to check on who you really are from the inside.
I think that's a very important tip that you've given us, a very important key that you've given our participants here. And at some point, I was also trying some hypnosis, and it was very interesting to learn. It was very interesting to learn in that context that the left brain thinks in terms of language, and one after the other, but the right brain thinks in terms of images. So
Right.
what we're framing here, our right brain is imaging. And if you're giving negative images, the impact of that directly on our system is something that is problematic for ourselves.
Absolutely.
Yes, and it
Yes.
has to be realistic at the same time.
Yes, it has to be realistic. And that is what we are trying to approach in Yoga Nidra also. We are not trying to actually dwell on certain kinds of, serious visuals or serious images or pictures. Even the archetypes, which I tell you, you don't dwell on it for too long, because that actually loses the practice by itself. We actually stay there, do not analyze it, but move on. It is a small, focused, concentrated practice, which stays just about 3 to 5 minutes, which is your Turiya state, which helps you to actually, build from that alpha state to the theta state.
Yes, thank you. So just on this line, there was a question by Dominique Cotto, a very dear friend from France. He's
Okay.
saying that I read that the practice of Yoga Nidra is very efficient, for instance, to learn foreign languages. Have you any experience or comment on that? Like, can you acquire new skills by using Yoga Nidra as a technique?
Okay. Yeah. In terms of new skills, I'm not too sure, because I haven't personally observed it. But yes, in terms of, refining yourself, in terms of polishing your skills, definitely there could be much more improvement on your energies, which can be useful for a long way. Definitely, there could be a lot of creativity that can be evolved through the practice of Yoga Nidra, because we tend to actually suggest that if you practice Yoga Nidra time and again, weekly once or twice, then it helps you to work on both functionalities of the left and the right brain simultaneously. So definitely creativity improves, your overall personality improves, your, samskaras, which is locked inside your body in terms of emotions or extreme trauma, all these are released. So by releasing them, you will actually handle all the diseases or any kind of illnesses that can actually come and attack you in terms of body level.
Thank you very much for that reassurance and again empowerment. There was another question that I had here, which was about the timing. How many? Not just the timing in terms of the day, but how often in a week should one do yoga nidra? Should it be a daily phenomenon? Is the Brahma Muhurtam supposed to be the best thing? Should you do it once a week? How often can one really practice yoga nidra for oneself?
Okay, yoga nidra can be practiced every day. It's not a practice which requires a lot of dedicated sadhana, but then you need to have a little bit of effort involved in being still, because the practice can only be explored if you are able to control your body. So definitely a physical level of awareness is certainly needed in order to practice yoga nidra. But at the same time, if you're asking me what is the right time to practice, any time before a meal. So your stomach should be almost empty before you practice yoga nidra for you to actually get through that experience within yourself. So it could be done before your asana practice, but ideally done after asana practice for you to enjoy the relaxation of the physical body as well. But in the evenings, just before sunset, it is a good time to practice.
And Brahma Muhurtam, is that a
Brahma Muhurtam, generally we practice meditative state of practices, not really yoga nidra, because yoga nidra actually tends you to put you to sleep if you're not really aware and awake, right? And we don't want to, spoil the actual timing of Brahma Muhurtam, where people really get into an energy space of deep meditation.
All right, wonderful.
Yeah.
There was another, again, a very practical question that we had from one of our participants who says that, is there any contraindication? Like, I'm feeling good overall, but I have a slight headache on the right side. So,
Okay.
what would you say to that?
Okay, so generally heaviness on any part of the body can be experienced if a person is not able to let go of himself or herself completely. So that means you're holding yourself on any kind of physical discomfort or mental baggages. So as I said, it is actually very important for you to be completely aware that you're being relaxed. So if you feel there is tension in the body, you'll not be able to experience it. But in terms of depression, right? I was just seeing somebody was asking if is it good for depression. So in terms of severe depression, I wouldn't suggest that they actually do it as a therapy purpose. Medicative wise, people do try to challenge themselves if it actually cures depression, but not really. If it is an anxiety issue, definitely it will be helpful for you to come out of anxietiness.
Okay, thank you for that note of caution. Really.
Yeah. And of course, pregnancy is a very comfortable position that people can practice. And it's actually a wonderful experience for you to connect with the fetus and, the growing baby for the mother. And it helps her to build that sense of actually, oneness within her baby.
You preempted my question, so I think we're in sync on that. That was my personal question, for prenatal situations, whether this is a good thing to do.
Yes, absolutely. People love it actually because they are in such a deep state of awareness and relaxation. They just want to continue the yoga nidra practice without breaking it.
All right. We'll just take one last question for now, and this is by Sharmila ji, who's saying that, how do we know that the sankalpa is not in line with the universe? And that our sankalpa made to be what is set in line with our destiny. So how do we basically align our sankalpa to our greater good?
Okay, so there are two ways of designing a sankalpa. One for your own personal journey, and the second one for the common good of all. So when I say I want to actually initiate peace for everyone, right? I would say that instead of saying that I'm experiencing peace for myself, I would say I want peace for all. So I am in peace with everyone. So that covers the entire universe that you actually come in contact with. So not just you and a second person whom you're dealing with in conversation, but the third, fourth, fifth person, and that covers the entire universe. So if you have a common sankalpa, which is for the good of everybody, then that can be also trained in your yoga nidra practice. And that is best done for a lot of people who are, trying to actually do a lot of community work as well. A lot of people, like the other day I was seeing Soumya ji was saying she does a lot of work on the rehabilitation programs and people for special needs children. So people who have that kind of intentions, it's always good to build a sankalpa on a larger scale.
Thank you very much for that piece of advice on how to design the Sankalpa really. I have another one here. Okay, this is another one, but I think what we will do for now is I will make the announcements for the rest of the day, the next evening sessions program. And then I will come back to you. If there's one more question, maybe we'll take that up if there's time. But I'd also like you to, at that point, tell us how people can reach out to you. Anjlalji is saying that, this is one recording that I will keep returning to. And there are many who want to, like Ricky Ji and all, who's saying that, is there a website when we can find out more about your work, etc. So I would just like to inform the participants that all these recordings will be available on indicayoga.com, Indica Yoga Facebook page, as well as on Indica Yoga YouTube channel. We have an excellent technical staff support who upload the YouTube, the videos on YouTube soon after, maybe a day's delay, and then it's all there. So please make the most of all these videos that are a very rich resource for our own development, personal development. So Aarti ji, I'll just come back to you. I'll just make the announcements and we'll move on to your sharing of how people can reach you, etc. So I request Srinivas ji and Koti ji to please put up the... So this evening, we have another wonderful presentation by Nritya Jagannathan ji, who is the director of the Krishnamacharya Yoga Mandiram Institute of Yoga Studies. We had Jairam ji in the morning, who is the director of research in the same institute. We also had the great good fortune of listening to Nritya ji a few days back on the webinar that Indica Yoga organizes weekly. And she took us through understanding how we can cope with change. That's another brilliant lecture that you must listen to on indicayoga.com. Today she's going to be talking to us on Atha, the Yoga of Now, practical wisdom from a timeless text. So join us this evening for this wonderful session.
Follow me on Facebook and Instagram on Aarti Padmanabhan. Yes.
Wonderful. So I would just like to mention to the audience that we've had a little bit of a series on this Nada Yoga that started with Padma Shri Umakant Gundecha ji's presentation on Nada Yoga and Dhrupad Sadhana. Today we looked at the combination of Nada Yoga or sound meditation with Yoga Nidra. Tomorrow's day we have two presentations that are dedicated to this experience of the relationship of sound with ourselves. So in the afternoon we have a very special presentation, again using musical instruments by Aurelio, who's the director, founder of Swaram in Auroville. And he's going to be talking to us on Nada Yoga and sound well-being. And in the evening, we have a fascinating session, a very, very special session for all of you by the legendary Krishna Das, who is a known Kirtan singer, an American singer, but he doesn't need any introduction. His bhajans, his songs are full of devotion, a direct disciple of Neem Karoli Baba, and also a great bhakta of Hanumanji. So please join us for this session tomorrow evening. It will be from 7 to 8:30. Make sure that you have these timings fit on your calendar, reserved on your calendar. So thank you very much. So that session will be there by Krishnadas ji tomorrow evening. And I just had, before I request Aarti ji for her message, we are really looking out for ambassadors of wellness. So each one of you who's present on these sessions is a potential ambassador of wellness. In these times of growing darkness, can you be a candle of light? Can you light many more candles? So please join us in spreading this about this festival to your friends, to anybody you think will benefit. And one research request I had from a research point of view, could you take up a challenge of trying out some of these things for yourself? So maybe you tell yourself, we've been listening to all these values of Satya, Ahimsa. Ask yourself, so today I'm going to practice Satya. Come what may, I will practice Satya. This is like the challenge that we take up. Practice Satya for a day and see what it entails. Practice Ahimsa for a day, see what it entails. Practice Aparigraha for a day, see what it entails. So would you like to take up this challenge? I mean, from this global festival, we are opening up this challenge for you. Take it up. Tell us what are the difficulties on the path. And we'd be more than happy to listen and communicate on those lines outside of this forum as well. So thank you very much. RTG, coming back to you. What would be your advice to our participants in taking their practice forward in a very meaningful way?
So, with respect to Yoga Nidra in particular, I would say that you definitely need a good teacher to guide you through the practice of Yoga Nidra, because the experience that you actually have learning it from a CD or a recorded, play is completely different than what you actually visualize it in a one-on-one instruction level. So definitely, if you have the ability to look for a teacher, or if there is somebody near your place, then you would definitely want to explore that in the first hand. And also, I would like to say is people are only approaching towards the physical level of well-being in terms of asanas, in terms of definitely pranayama is one set of practices that builds a lot of immunities and energizes the pranamaya and the manomaya kosha itself. But at the same time, we have to start looking inwards. As somebody said, right, the antaranga and the varanga are two different things. So today, I would like youngsters to actually take some moments of their life to spend on themselves, in terms of loving themselves, in terms of accepting themselves as they are. So people are just losing hope with themselves that they are not able to achieve certain things. So I'm talking with my own personal experience, because I've had a very hard struggle in my personal life as well as professional life. Being a single parent of a child, it becomes very hard to actually concise your energies to progress further in life. But then, having said that, it's very, very important to keep your focus, to keep your one pointed focus on what you really want to do in life. And if that is there, which touches your heart, which you believe in, can change yourself and the world around you, you should follow that.
Thank you very much for sharing about your personal experience and the benefits that you have derived from these practices, and the very positive message you have left our audience with. With these words, we offer our thanks to you for accepting very humbly to lead this session for us. Our participants loved it and sincerely hope that we have allowed a certain network to take place with you and them. So thank you very much.
I thank Yoga, I thank Anuradha ji and Vinay and Nazi. So it was a profound experience for me, because this is the first time I'm presenting it into a large audience by itself. So thank you for all the blessings, and thank you once again for appreciating this practice. Love to all.
We had more than 150 participants all in all across the different platforms, and it's open for many more to benefit from your teaching. Thank you.
Thank you.
These
So-
were Srinivas ji to kindly show the poster of the next event.